Welcome to USF 2000 AI League Season 3 Race 22. We have 3 races left in the championship. We're here at Martinsville, the half mile. But before we get to racing, show you your current championship standings. Jack Daniels, his lead shrunk a bit after pretty bad end to Laguna Seca. Karl Marx and Bob McFarland closed in a bit. Brendan Hubbard, John Christensen, they're still 4th and 5th. And then Tom O'Laughlin is currently the last driver still eligible for the championship. So you're within the top 6. You're still technically able to go for the championship. Alfredo Sassi almost won, but Bob McFarland beat him at Laguna Seca on the last lap. But Alfredo Sassi moves up into 7th, Snoop Dogg falls to 8th. Icy Cow and Big Bob are now tied for 9th. Dylan Pettigrew moves up into 11th. Monsieur Bone in 12th. Steersman in 13th. Baguette Boy moves up to 14th. Even Martz falls to 15th. And then Edgelord and Chad Broski round out your field. Currently, Jack Daniels is out in front with a 20.488. Very quick lap times. You have to really hustle it around the track. Just on board with Karl Marx. This race is gonna be like none other by how they're racing already, and it's only practice. Majority of the field within a second. 2 cars still have not set a lap yet. Jack Daniels currently out in front. He needs another good day today as Tom O'Laughlin moves up into 1st. O'Loughlin's on the cut line of still eligible for the championship. Which also means he's still barely eligible for Rookie of the Year. He's battling Jack Daniels. Rookie of the Year is anyone brand new to the series. So if you join right now, you won't be able to go for Rookie of the Year, but you'll still be able to compete. Everyone has set lap speeds now. 14 cars currently within a second. Icy Cow, Ethan March, and Edgelord are not. John Christensen. See what this lap is. He moves up into 3rd. That is now a new best for him. Christensen right in front of Jack Daniels, but in standings, Daniels is right above Christensen. Daniels 1st, Christensen 2nd, as actually Tom O'Laughlin goes P1, pulling some really good speed here in practice so far. Very short straightaways, but in terms of half mile, very tight turns, but pretty long straights. One half miles on the NASCAR calendar. The other half mile is short on the straights, long in the turns. O'Loughlin, as Karl Marx went second. He just needs to keep being better than Jack Daniels if he wants to win the championship. Tom O'Loughlin, 19.7 is the time to beat, basically a 19.75. 13 cars within a second. Dylan Pettigrew moves up to 12th. There are going to be loads of chaos to happen tonight. As Baguette Boy goes P1 with a 19.705. That is now your time to beat O'Loughlin off that speed by about 400ths. Bob McFarland moves up into third. Brennan Hubbard went up to fourth. As Baguette Boy just beats his time, now up to about 19.689. As McFarland and Christensen go first and second, McFarland for 19.628, Christensen 19.635. Edgelord, Bone, and Icy Cow are off by a second. 8 cars are within half a second. Very quick lap times. Excuse me. We have about a minute to go left in practice. O'Loughlin, we're gonna have to see if he can get a good lap now that he has now that he's free from traffic. Next cars in front are Christensen and Karl Marx, currently second and sixth. Thirty seconds to go. He had no traffic in front of him. It's his fastest lap, but doesn't make him go up anywhere. As he is now caught up to Ethan Martz, which is going to slow him down. Ethan is 14th, almost a second off the pace. Chad Broski up to 10th. Icy Cow up to 14th, now within a second. Brendan Hubbard up to 3rd with a 19.657. Yeah, McFarland. Oh, Rez, I said that Christensen leapfrogs him with a 19.611. McFarland only had 6 thousandths of a lead, and now he has fallen to second. Christensen was able to outpace him. We are waiting for some people to finish their laps. And then we'll move on to qualifying, which will be very chaotic, but very exciting. Christensen will be the first one to go out on track. Won qualifying 2 times in a row at Hockenheim and Laguna Seca. Let's see if he'll be able to do it here at Martinsville on the half mile. Not going to have anyone in front of him on this qualifying outlap. Well, not outlap, this is his actual attempt. Obviously, he goes pink. We're going to have to see what Ethan Martz can do. Ethan Martz slower. Definitely not going to stick, but that is currently the time to beat. It's Christensen already tracking pink again. We're going to see what he's got. See if he can make it 3 in a row. Pink again, up to a 20.8. Still not as good as the times we were seeing in practice. So, don't count on those times. Baguette Boy at 20.9. Christensen pink again. Edgelord. Only the 6th. Icy Cow. What's he got? It's gonna improve his time, but only the 4th. John Christensen now stuck in traffic, not able to get a faster time. As Baguette Boy goes P1 with 20.702. That is currently the time to beat. Chad Broski up into 3rd. O'Loughlin into 3rd. What can people do to try and get onto the pole? Jack Daniels still in pit road, so we're gonna have to wait to see what he's got. If he'll even set a lap. Christensen's in pit road, so he may not go out again. As Dylan Pettigrew goes first place with 20.693. O'Loughlin in the pink. Up to P1, 20.603. What do they got? Broski up to 3rd. The 18's now on track. Brennan Hubbard goes first, but Tom O'Loughlin immediately jumps him. Time to beat now, 20.533. Jack Daniels, the only driver not to have set a lap so far. Chad Broski first place, 20.367. Good lap for him. McFarland up to 3rd. Jack Daniels moves up into 7th. Dylan Pettigrew goes first place, 20.347. The people coming across the line now will still get time for another lap, but as soon as it hits 5 minutes, as Bone goes P1, 20.330. Couple seconds left, McFarland will be able to go out and set another lap, but Jack Daniels will not. McFarland goes first. Daniels, only up to 6th, so he will not improve anymore. McFarland goes P1 with 20.238. McFarland is now currently on pole. Oh! Bone hits the wall coming into pit road. Hopefully that won't be an issue during the race, because that may knock out a lot of drivers. I think this may be your qualifying grid. Some cars still coming around, but qualifying's basically over. That's a better way to enter pit road than what Bone did by completely smacking the wall. Didn't seem like he had a lot of damage though anyways. As it is now time for the race. So, as usual, let's look at your starting grid. Bob McFarland got the pole by 9 hundredths. That's actually pretty big. Row 2 is Dylan Pettigrew and Chad Broski. Row 3 is filled with two current championship contenders, with Brendan Hubbard and the current points leader, Jack Daniels. Row 4 is also another championship contender, Tom O'Loughlin, and then Alfredo Saucy. In row 5, we have Baguette Boy and another championship contender with John Christensen. Row 6, I think you have our final championship contender, Karl Marx, in 11th, and then Snoop Dogg. Row 7, we'll have Icy Cow and Big Bob, currently tied in the standings, so they have a little rivalry going on. And then row 8, you have Jack Steersman and Ethan Martz. And then rounding out the field, you have Edgelord. So now let's look at your race info. Martinsville, it says here 0.49 miles, so it's not even half a mile. Uh, Track temperature is 80 degrees. Um, Relatively high altitude. Martinsville track fact. Martinsville is the shortest track to have been included in the USF 2000 AI League. It's also the only track to be smaller than 3/4 of a mile. It's also smaller than half a mile. Only a couple other tracks have done that. I think ones that come to mind, Iowa and USA International, and I think those are the only two. Yeah, let's show you the championship standings again, and then I'll tell you where they're starting. Jack Daniels, first in the standing, is starting 6th today. Karl Marx starting 11th, farthest back out of any of the championship contenders. He's not that great with qualifying. Bob McFarland starting on pole, so that's going to be really good for him. He's kind of having a resurgence in these final few races. Brendan Hubbard starting 5th. John Christensen starting 10th, just within the top 10. And then Tom O'Loughlin starting 7th. We have some time before the race. Seems like we're going to have a very exciting night tonight. I think there's going to be action everyone on the track. The cars aren't going to be able to get away from each other, because the second you get away, there's going to be cars right in front of you. So Bob McFarland, if he gets a good jump on the start, he'll maybe have a few laps, maybe about 10 or so, 10 to 20, and then he's already caught up to the back of the field. And there are a lot of laps tonight. That's a lot of turns. There's about 4 turns. and there's 125 laps, so that's about 500 turns. And you do a turn on average about every 5 seconds. So drivers may get a little dizzy, but I think they're prepared. I think we may actually do 2 pace laps before the start because it's a short track. I am not 100% sure. We'll just see when we go green. Now they're rolling off. McFarland's got to get a good jump on the start. Bone's gonna want another win. Dylan wants another win. Broski wants another win. I mean, everyone wants a win, and then Hubbard and Daniels right back there. They want a championship. Brennan's been so close, but has not been able to get it. Seems like we are going to go green next time around. Brennan Hubbard led the championship into both finales in Season 1 and Season 2. In Season 1 and Season 2, it was both at Michigan, and he crashed out pretty early in the race. Season 1, he had a little scuffle coming out of Turn 2, and then in Season 2, he crashed hard into Season 3. Well, Turn 3. Bone actually ended up winning Season 1, and then Snoop Dogg won Season 2. Bone actually won Season 1. No, Snoop Dogg did not win Season 2. It was, Baguette Boy. As here we go, green flag is out here at Martinsville. What a jump from McFarland. Absolutely left everyone in the dust. Some battles throughout the field. Jack Daniels lost a spot right at the start. Gonna have to see how these lanes are going to work. Karl Marx up 2 spots since the start already. Alfredo Sassi lost 4 as Jack Daniels now goes around Tom O'Laughlin. Gonna be hunting. As now Jack Daniels goes to the inside of Hubbard. He wants the championship. As now Tom O'Laughlin gonna try and make a move on Hubbard. Door gets closed. Jack Daniels just set the fastest lap with a 19.877. Still battling really close back here. Broski's gonna have to defend pretty hard. Baguette Boy surrounded by championship contenders. 4 of them are, actually 5 of them are right around them. The only one that's not surrounding him is McFarland, who's in first, who just set the fastest lap with 19.549. As Broski's now trying to make a move on Bone into turn 3, almost collide as Broski trying to get the position. Bone's gonna get a run on the outside. Dylan Pettigrew just set fastest lap, trying to close the gap. As now Jack Daniels gets around Bone. Jack Daniels up 2 spots since the start. Alfredo Sassi lost 7. Must have had a really bad start and just couldn't recover. Now Daniels closing in on Broski. McFarland sets the fastest lap once again. So it seems like those two are about evenly matched now at about 1.1 seconds apart. McFarland's already pretty close to lap traffic. You can see he was entering turn 1 as they're exiting turn 2. As they're already about 16 seconds behind, and these are only, like, these are less than 20-second lap times, so they're probably only about 3 seconds ahead. There's a pretty big gap between Edgelord and Alfredo Saucy. As Karl Marx saw a little bit of an attack from Christensen. He gets a pretty good run in turn 3 and 4. As Jack Daniels now sets the fastest lap with a 19.27. As McFarland has now caught up to lap traffic. Gets around Ethan relatively easy. Just kind of gets him out of the way. As now Dylan Pettigrew is under fire from Broski, whereas Jack Daniels right behind, lurking in the shadows. Broski just wants another win. As Dylan Pettigrew's now trying to look around Ethan. Gets it done as Broski almost makes contact with the back of Ethan. While he struggles, he just cleared the way for Daniels as Daniels is now right behind Broski. Just hold on. Here he comes. Not this lap. We already have 2 cars a lap down as we are only about 20 laps in. No cautions as Broski now looks to the inside of Pettigrew. Daniels, he had the opening to get around him, but now he's going to try and make a move. Can't get it done as Broski's struggling to get around Edgelord. As now Jack Daniels uses Edgelord as a pick to block Pettigrew as he'll get by and now into the podium places. There's about 3-second gap between McFarland and Broski. I don't think Dylan Pettigrew's done quite yet in battling Daniels. Go on board for a lap. A quick lap around with Pettigrew. got some action back here. Christensen trying to get around Ethan. He'll move out of the way for him, but he's now in front of O'Laughlin. Not much that's able to be done right here as Christensen's now going to go around. Karl Marx gets around as O'Laughlin is getting slowed down. This is not what he needed today. Seems like the gap is shrinking between McFarland and Broski. He's having issues trying to get around Alfredo Saucy. Remember, he passed him on one of the final turns at Laguna Seca last week after a mistake. After he put pressure on him, as now Alfredo Saucy's putting the pressure on McFarland as he is still struggling to get around. The gap that was up to about 3 seconds is now down to less than half a second. He tries to look again, but still can't do it. He's got to try and make a move. We're almost about a quarter of the way in. As Broski tries to make a move, but McFarland makes a move. Daniels almost tries to make a move on Broski. There's a lot of moving happening right there as Dylan Pettigrew's now catching up. The top four are now all together. Daniels tries to make the look again. He gets by. Bad news for McFarland as Broski's still trying to hang on. Broski's still holding on to that outside lane, as he's actually got side by side with McFarland for a second. Sorry about that. Broski's still hanging on. Not willing to back out just yet, but I think it now may be over as Daniels is now trying to fight McFarland for the lead. As here comes Pettigrew. As Daniels gonna try and look to get around Alfredo Saucy, and he makes it work. What McFarland couldn't do, Daniels could do. Daniels is just the guy to beat. I think if he wins today, it'll be exactly what he needs. Biggest mover, up 5 spots today. While McFarland was fiddling his thumbs, he was able to get by with ease as Broski's now trying to go underneath Pettigrew. McFarland got bumped down to 4th. Then McFarland side by side with Pettigrew. As Broski's trying to get by the lap traffic. Broski has now got by as McFarland gets by Pettigrew. Still trying to get through the lap traffic. Pettigrew tried making a move on McFarland, is still with him right now. Ethan Martz is already almost about to be lapped for the 2nd time. Definitely Ethan Martz's worst season. Is now there side by side, Dylan Pettigrew trying to look around him once again. To the inside, and it works. McFarland is now getting passed by Alfredo Saucy. So he's going to fall behind a little. Pettigrew can get ahead of Big Bob before McFarland can get ahead of Alfredo Saucy, and he'll be in the clear. And now Brendan Hubbard's catching up to McFarland. McFarland is the car right above him, and the points is now getting pretty close back there. Hubbard's closing the gap, less than half a second. Dylan Pettigrew's already off and away. McFarland's getting away a little, actually, but is still stuck behind Alfredo Saucy, who is really slowing him down. Pettigrew now trying to get by Steersman, as Hubbard just doesn't have the speed. As up at the front, Daniels is now gonna have to try and hold off Broski. Struggling through lap traffic, Broski just needs to follow him, which he did not do. You may have to follow him pretty good through turns 1 and 2, as he will. He's gonna stay with him. He's actually gonna make a move. Oh, Daniels cuts him off right before. Jack Daniels is now behind Snoop Dogg. So almost everyone except for the top 10 have been lapped. There's a lot of clear after they get past Snoop Dogg, as Baguette Boy and Tom O'Laughlin are almost on opposite sides of the track. There seems to be a big gap between 4th and 7th. Well, big group, as Daniels keeps trying to make a look, but doesn't work. So he almost drifted up, which Broski could have easily taken advantage of. Broski needs to follow right behind Daniels, so if he does get by, he can wiggle by 2. We're almost about halfway through. Making the move again. Broski will also get by, as Daniels finally got by as well. But Broski's gonna stay with Daniels if he can. Unless Daniels is just able to drive away. Yeah, they have over a whole straightaways length of distance until the next cars. Broski has to hang on. Now he has fallen out of half a second between him and Daniels. Just still kind of sticking together. Can see Jack Daniels beat him in the first two sectors. Yeah, Daniels just slowly extending the gap. Very unfortunate for Broski. Doesn't seem like he'll be able to keep up. It's Christensen trying to get by Bone. He's gonna try and make a move, but he cannot. Still say he's right behind Bone. He's got Karl Marx right behind him as he's now actually gonna try and take a peek. Can't do it. You have to really outbreak them into the turns. This is one of the few ovals where in the USF 2000 you actually need to slow down a lot for the turn. If he doesn't make a move, Marx will. This is to get in the top 5. He's about 150 points off of Daniels. As we got 3 races left at Interlagos, Long Beach, and Auto Club, all of which are very hot places. Well, not very, but warm. Drivers need to bring sunscreen. Actually, no, they're gonna be wearing the suits as he gets very close to Bone. As he is still struggling to get by. He's gonna make a dive for it, but still can't do it. Bone is still edging him out. Well, about now, what does he got? Still nothing in the tank. As we are now over halfway through. As up at the front, Daniels has met some lap traffic once again. It's a big group this time. What can Broski do about it? And will Pettigrew be able to catch in time? He's got to get around Snoop Dogg, though. Big group to have to try and carve through. Broski's right behind. He is going to go for it and completely outbreaks him into the turn, as now he is going to have the inside and Daniels is going to be stuck on the outside. Broski is your new leader as Daniels almost makes it 3 wide. Baguette Boy's now out of the way as Broski defends hard as now he'll go underneath O'Loughlin. Broski is slowly learning through this race to keep his elbows out more. He is defending way harder. Bob McFarland actually fell down to 8th. We haven't really been keeping up with him since he lost the lead, but here goes Daniels back to the inside. Now Broski's gonna be stuck on the outside. He needs to move to the inside before Baguette Boy can take his spot. Very strategic racing needs to happen as now Baguette Boy side by side with Broski. This is not what Broski needs. He needs to get to the inside lane as soon as possible. Now he is side by side with Daniels. Almost beats him through the turn, actually. Gotta keep working hard. Seems like he's actually keeping up good pace so far in that outside lane, but Ethan Martz is now in the way. As he moves back down to the inside, as Broski's actually making it work on the outside. Gotta get Ethan out of the way, though. That's the issue. He's making it work, but now Daniels is on the outside. He's following. Broski making the outside at Martinsville work, as now he is down to the inside. He's gonna cross over, gonna need to try and get by Ethan, put him 3 laps down. But Daniels is fighting on the outside. Ethan moves up to the outside. This is bad news for Daniels, as Broski now will take the lead and is pretty free of traffic once he gets past Edgelord up ahead. He's got, after Edgelord, it's about half a lap of free space, which he really needs. Daniels now has Pettigrew right behind him. Pettigrew's gonna try and move up into second. Jack Daniels needs to hold on dear life. So far, your biggest mover of this race is John Christensen, up 5 spots. Your biggest loser is Bob McFarland, down 7 spots. Pettigrew's just not keeping up good pace going into the turns, which is where he really needs to be hitting his marks, which he's not, as Broski actually got around Edgelord with ease. So he's got some free space, as Daniels and Pettigrew still trying to carve their way through the field. Jack Daniels now trying to get around the other Jack of Jack Steersman. There are 2 Jacks and 2 Bobs. One of them's big and one of them's McFarland. And of the Jacks, one is a drink and the other is a driver. As they're now finally out of traffic, so Daniels needs to really go fast to try and catch up to Broski. He's got about 3.5 seconds to try and figure out. Pettigrew's still right behind Daniels. But he is kinda outpacing Pettigrew, but not by much. We're now starting to get into the later portions of the race. About little over 45 to go. Pettigrew actually beat him in that sector. The gap is extending nonetheless. Karl Marx now trying to battle with Christensen to get into the top 5. They're racing pretty hard. Jack Daniels is still falling behind Broski. Now we're starting to get into the spot of, will they need to make a pit stop? As Bone is trying to hold off McFarland, who absolutely got tanked about around the halfway mark, dropped to 8th. Just still trying to stay on the lead lap, as he is actually the last car on the lead lap now. Only 8 remain on the lead lap. then there are about 5 cars a lap down, 2 cars 2 laps down, and then 2 cars 3 laps down. McFarland's still staying with Bone. I think he's going to be able to get an opportunity very soon if Bone can't get around Snoop Dogg. Chad Broski has almost caught up to the back of the field again. Seems like this group is basically 12th through 17th. Except I don't think 14th's in the group. Still keeping with about 2/10 off. Broski's now into the thick of the field. Jack Daniels, this is now his time to try and catch up. Bone now trying to make a move on the inside of Snoop Dogg. Old championship rivals right there. They battled in Season 1, and only 1 point separated them. So any position on track right now could change McFarland's championship. So if he can get by Bone, that could be a championship making position right there. All points are necessary. Even Jack Daniels, he has about 40-point lead. About a 50. His points, every single one of them is valuable. As Borowski has just cleared himself of that group as Jack Daniels is still caught up behind it. Borowski's going to get even more clear air, and then he's going to catch up to this group. Daniels just trying to get by Icy Cow, as Icy Cow's just trying to get around Edgelord. Because Edgelord's like 2 laps down for Icy Cow, but Icy Cow is 2 laps down. Very confusing times we live in. Still 8 remain on the lead lap, but probably not for long. Jack Daniels almost makes contact with Icy Cow as he's actually going to run around the outside to get around the group. It actually works fairly well as he gained time through that group, as there's only 1 battle on track with less than a second separating them, and that's Tom O'Laughlin and Baguette Boy battling for 9th. They're actually now within half a second. Now Ethan Martz almost was within a second between him and Edgelord. Broski's still just trying to check off all the marks, but like, tires gotta be screaming out as they're all on the 90s in these laps. Gotta think how much the tires are trying to do right now. Just trying to hang on. About a 3-second gap between Broski and Daniels, but there is a car in the middle with Alfredo Saucy. Broski's now catching up to a group in front. Christensen, one of the biggest movers of tonight, tied with Karl Marx, but since he is higher up, he is technically the biggest mover. Got pretty close to Hubbard. Hubbard's now closing in on Pettigrew. There's one car separates them, and that is Tom O'Laughlin. O'Laughlin is now actually trying to get around Pettigrew, despite being a lap down, as McFarland is now a lap down. Bone is next. Yeah, there seems to be two big groups of cars, and they're both on opposite sides of the track. And then there's one car in the middle, and that's Bone. It's now hovered to the inside of Pettigrew, trying to go for the podium. This will help toward the championship, as he'll now get by. As Christensen's now got to try and carve through the field. Christensen now literally right behind Pettigrew. He's got to hope that edgelord doesn't close the door on him, as he doesn't. So now Christensen right behind Pettigrew. This is one of the two battles on track actually within half a second. But there are still a lot of cars very close together. That's the fun thing about half miles. Christensen still right behind Pettigrew. He's just got to outbrake him. This will also help him towards the championship, because he's got to hope that he's still going to be eligible. I don't think Tom O'Laughlin will still be eligible after this. Laughlin's about 33 points behind behind Christensen. Christensen's about 150 behind Daniels. I think he's actually 146 to be exact. Christensen still trying to hang on, as Pettigrew's now caught up to lap traffic, as there's now about a 5-second gap between Broski and Daniels. As Daniels is struggling with Alfredo Saucy. As Daniels is now trying to work on Big Bob and Bone. And later he'll deal with Icy Cow and Edgelord. While Christensen's making no ground on Pettigrew, Marks is making ground on Christensen. This is what Marks needs. If Daniel's out in front, he needs to just try and earn as much points as possible. If he goes into 5th, he'll only lose 10 points to Daniels, where as of now he'll lose 12, and as we mentioned earlier, every point matters. Season 2 wasn't as close. I think Season 2 was about like 20-point difference. Being Monocle, or Epton, as he is called now, Baguette Boy, he's actually on screen right now, right behind Marks. He was only part-time last season. And part-time as he joined late and basically missed about the first 5th of the season. Christensen now right behind Pettigrew. Has to just close in, as we are now about 10 laps left in the race. Seems like the 6th still on the lead lap will be the 6th on the lead lap when we finish. I don't think Broski will close in in time. I think he actually may be able to. Depends. Mark's not keeping up with Christensen anymore, as Christensen's now almost caught Pettigrew. Christensen has won 3 races this season. Barber, Michigan, and Hockenheim. Now you may be wondering why he isn't at the top of the championship or near the top. Just inconsistency. As now Mark's once again closing in on him. Christensen's now falling behind Pettigrew again. I think Marks may actually be able to get Christensen if he catches him sleeping. Yeah, it doesn't seem like Daniels is gonna catch Broski. I think the podium may stay how it is. The top 5 may change. And still anything can happen. Even though Broski and Daniels are on opposite sides of the track. Literally, Daniels is in turn 4 while Broski's in turn 2. Oh! And there's your weird thing of tonight. Broski pits. Uh-oh. It's happening again as Daniels pits. They could not stretch all the way with a couple laps to go. Everyone's coming into pit road. Pettigrew stays out. Christensen stays out. Marks stays out. But how will they keep up? Will they be able to stay out? Pettigrew stays out. Christensen stays out. Marks stays out. Another bizarre incident happens again tonight. Just what a lot of drivers have been missing is fuel conservation, as this is not over. We have about 1 lap to go. And Christensen's pretty close to Pettigrew. I don't think he'll be able to get him. No, he will not be able to. As here they come to the checkered. Pettigrew is your winner. As his 3rd win in UAL3. Well, not UAL3, but in UAL history. That's his 2nd win in UAL3. Again, I said, just you're never sure. A lot of drivers, they just need to get better with their pit strategy. That's what they've been missing. And that is how Pettigrew won. McFarland won last race like that. Hockenheim ended like that. 3 races in a row where that ended under weird circumstances just because drivers could not conserve. This keeps happening to Jack Daniels. He's just not doing very good with it. He's just go, go, go and forgets it. So, I guess we've nothing better to do than look at your finishing results. Dylan Pettigrew wins over Christensen, able to conserve fuel all the way to the end. Karl Marx will take 3rd, as Broski will finish 4th. Remaining on the lead lap somehow, even though he made a pit stop, just shows how far ahead he was. He almost lapped the group that ended up getting the podium. Bone gets a top 5, McFarland 6th, O'Laughlin finishes 7th. I don't know if that'll be a good enough day to keep him in the championship battle. Baguette Boy 8th. Daniels will get 9th. Hubbard may have fallen out of the championship battle with this race. I know he definitely lost 4th in the standings as Christensen severely outpaced him. Snoop Dogg finishes 11th. Alfredo Saucy, rough day. He'll finish 12th. Icy Cal, 13th. Steersman, 14th. Big Bob will finish 15th. And then Edgelord and Ethan Martz barely stayed. They didn't have any speed today. They finished 16th and 17th, respectively. Another weird race end. But this time on a short oval. This is our last short oval of the season. We only have one oval left after this. We have a road course, a street course, and an oval. Up next is Interlagos down in Brazil. The first trip that UAL will make to South America. And then we're going to head back over to California where we'll hit Long Beach and Auto Club. Time's running out in the championship. I can't wait to see who wins. Tonight definitely made it very much closer. I will see you guys next time.